Horace Hunter.
GTA guys going toe-to-toe in this one. There's Horace Hunter bringing his 1-3 record into the ring.
Yeah, Hunter, 3 losses, 1 by TKO, 2 he went the distance. His lone win in his last fight, a 4-round unanimous decision against Ahmed Salamani. That happened in Jonquière, Quebec. So, you know, a 1-fight winning streak is better than a no-fight winning streak. So Hunter coming in with confidence, and it's Rose who really has to do the gut check to see where he stands on the heels of his knockout loss to Julius Spunda this past February.
And really looking to turn that record upside down, because a win here would bring him to 2-3 and a much more respectable record than if he went to a 1-4 record.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we talked about records maybe being overrated. There's still an optics to them.
Yeah.
You don't want to be an opponent brought in. You want to have some leg to you so that you can be promoted as opposed to just fed to the Lions. And 2-3 is a lot different than 1-4. Absolutely.
Phil Rose.
We talked about Hunter coming from Toronto. Well, Phil Rose steps out from behind the curtain. He's, of course, from Whitby, Ontario, and Phil Rose is on the right side of a record at 2-1.
Yep. The challenge is, though, how does he respond to the one? The one happened the last fight that Julius Spunda. We've seen a lot of good out of Phil Rose. Both wins coming by TKO. But he got hit in his last fight, and he got rocked. And so, how do you bounce back from that? Are you the same confident fighter you were in fights 1 and 2? Or are you that guy that got stopped in fight 3? A lot of questions to be answered by Phil Rose tonight.
Is it fair to say that this could be a bit of a defining early career moment for Phil Rose?
It's an early gut check. You know, you don't want to bury a guy after 4 fights. A lot of guys have gone on to great things after shaky start.
Ladies and gentlemen, the next bout is scheduled for 4 rounds in the super middleweight division.
And your resiliency.
The judges for this contest are Kelly Zulnicek, Harry Davis, and William Boudou. The third man in the ring, the referee, Edgar Loisa. Introducing first in the blue corner, he weighed in at 168 pounds, wearing white, trimmed with black. His professional record: 1 win, 3 defeats, and 4 outings as a professional. From Toronto, Horace Hunter. His opponent in the red corner, he weighed in at 166.5 pounds, wearing black, trimmed with red. His professional record: 2 wins, only 1 defeat, and both his wins come by way of knockout. From Whitby, Ontario, introducing Phil Rose.
Gentlemen, giving instructions in the dressing room already. Obey my commands at all times. Protect yourself at all times. Good luck to both of you. Shake hands.
Phil Rose wearing the black trunks trimmed in red. Horace Hunter wearing the white trimmed in black.
And both men clearly intense heading into this fight, they didn't even bother touching gloves despite Edgar Loiza's instructions. Hunter, the southpaw. Always a bit of a test for a right-handed fighter facing a southpaw.
Especially early on in your career.
Exactly.
Usually you want a few fights under your belt before you're going after the southpaw.
But we're seeing more and more in boxing left-handed fighters being allowed to fight vis-a-vis their natural tendencies. They're not being turned around. In the old days, southpaws were freaks in the ring. You barely saw them. Now, they're extremely confident, to the point where you shouldn't be surprised if you're facing them.
And a lot of southpaws now, because of the way you talked about it being trained to go either way, a lot of the guys can switch in the ring in mid-round as well.
Absolutely. Dangerous option. You have to do it properly. If you slow it all, you leave yourself open. But if it's done well, it's a huge weapon.
Hunter ducking away from Phil Rose, throwing the right over top.
Good right hand by Rose. They've been a little short. Both guys being very, very cognizant of what's going on in the ring right now. Good right hand, good lead left by Hunter. Good right hook, sorry, by Hunter.
A meaningful fight for both of these fighters, and the fact that Phil Rose does not want to see his one loss turn into 2 in a row, while Horace Hunter does not want to see his record drop to 1-4 after a big win in his last fight.
I've seen a very polished Horace Hunter tonight, and a good, sneaky right hook coming in, stunning Rose momentarily. Hunter's being very polished, very focused, and very composed so far in round 1.
And Rose really looked like a little too comfortable going inside on Hunter, and Hunter just caught him.
Yeah, he got caught with the hook, yeah, absolutely. Maybe taking things a little too casually on the inside.
Hunter doing a good job following up the jab and keeping Rose backpedaling.
Rose, obviously, when a right-hander is fighting a southpaw, you want to keep your lead foot outside of the lead foot of the southpaw. It allows an easier path for the right hand. We're seeing Rose's footwork being okay. I mean, the lead foot is outside of Hunter's. The right hand isn't coming behind that, though. So I want to see a little more out of Phil Rose as this fight progresses, because right now, in my mind, Hunter's doing more throwing and more landing in round 1.
Rose coming underneath, looking for the uppercut, and ends up backing up Hunter, and that does it for round number 1, as both fighters really just sizing up each other through the first round, measuring their opponents through 1 round. Here's a look at that first round, and the opportunity for Horace Hunter as he just missed with the right and almost got caught with a left coming from Phil Rose.
Yeah, he almost got caught by a left, but he's, in my mind, he did a better job of throwing and landing. You saw a good right jab there, and another sequence. He landed a terrific right hook on the inside that kind of had Rose not hurt, but definitely cognizant right there. The knees buckled a little. I mean, that was the best moment for either fighter in round 1. And in my mind, punctuated the good work that Hunter did in the first 3 minutes.
Well, Jason, it looks like Hunter's got a definite reach advantage, but he's not taking advantage of that.
You know, he's working behind the jab fairly well. I mean, it's Rose that's been kept on the outside as opposed to getting on the inside. So right now, the game plan from Hunter seems to be working well. But Rose has to do more to get in on the inside. Work the jab. If you're fighting a southpaw, it's tough to land that jab because both lead hands are right beside each other, so it's tough to get off at times. But clearly, the onus is on Rose to get on the inside as opposed to Horace to keep it on the outside.
And Rose is trying to do just that.
But right now, he's staying in Hunter's kill zone. He's not getting to the inside. He's really, at the end of Hunter's punches, he's got a good left hand by Hunter there.
And Hunter being able to split Split the gloves of Rose and get through with that left hand.
And it's both hands that are landing right now. And Rose not doing anything, not moving forward, not moving side to side, content to be at that dangerous position that he's in right now. And really, he's eating a lot of punches.
Yeah, it's almost like he hasn't figured out how to get inside. Rose has not figured out how to get inside Hunter right now.
And even when he tries to get inside, we see Hunter moving his feet and maintaining that distance that he needs to be effective.
Rose drops the left hand and takes that cross to the chin, and Hunter comes in and tags him, and Rose comes right back with a combination of his own.
At the end of the day, though, it's the long punches of Hunter that are landing and are telling the tale of this fight through a round and a half.
Rose comes through with the right, backs up Hunter, and Hunter with a wild left just to keep him at bay.
I mentioned footwork before, trying to keep your right foot, your lead foot outside the lead foot of the southpaw. Rose not doing that as well as he did in the first round. That didn't really yield anything for him. But looking at the footwork, it's Horace who has the foot on the outside of Rose.
Also looks like Rose is starting to breathe a little heavily through his mouth.
Well, he's the one loading up on the punches. I mean, his punches aren't flowing, they're forced.
Yeah.
And when you do that, and when you miss, it's extremely tiring.
Takes a lot out of a fighter when he misses the big haymakers.
Absolutely.
Not just once, but 2 or 3 times in a round.
Oh, absolutely, Doug. You're right on about that. And we're seeing Hunter throwing the more composed punches, the more flowing punches. And really, at the end of the day, they might not have the zip on them or the show that Rose's punches have, but they're definitely scoring and doing more damage.
And that's the key through 2 rounds is he's scoring, and Horace Hunter right now by my books is up both rounds.
Yeah, absolutely. And in a 4-round fight, you have to dig deep to force a draw right now. I mean, Rose has to win the last 2 to get a draw.
As we take a look at the corner of Horace Hunter, let's go to Michelle Storino.
We're in Horace Hunter's corner during that entire second round, and his corner's telling him to set stuff up off the double jab. They want him to double up and triple up that jab, and he's landing, like you said, a couple of those singular shots. He just needs to add a few more to those shots.
So as both fighters set to come out for the 3rd round, and Jason, right now, Phil Rose has to come out with a sense of purpose.
Well, you know, you would think the judges are looking at the same fight we're looking at. Maybe they're not. Maybe I'm overstating Horace Hunter's case here. But an objective eye could see Horace Hunter won those first 2 rounds. So Phil Rose has got to do something different. Get inside, move his head, move his feet, work behind the jab, and stay out of the danger spot he's found himself in over the first 6 minutes of this fight.
And this has forced Phil Rose to throw those big, wild punches yet again. And again, when you miss one of those, it takes a ton out of a fighter. And right now, Horace Hunter is just picking apart Phil Rose in the early part of this 3rd round.
Oh, but it was Rose that just landed a huge right hand. Hunter took it well, but boom. Best moment for Jordan Rose so far.
And Hunter's backpedaling now as Rose stepping in with a load of confidence.
But he got caught by a left by Hunter as well. So this is round 3 turning into a Donnybrook.
And a bit because Rose knows he needs a big comeback in this round. He throws the good jab and tries to follow it up with the right. It's just not there. In the clinch now comes underneath, and Edgar Loaiza, our referee, steps in to separate the fighter.
And Edgar's done a good job in this fight so far. Let's not ignore the work he's done. But maybe we're seeing in Horace, I mentioned before, long fighters have a tendency, when they're flowing, to take a picture, to kind of admire their work. I think that's what we saw out of Hunter just prior to Rose landing that right hand. It's a hard lesson to learn, but if you pick up on it, you can change that and make sure it doesn't happen again.
A couple of more of those to the chin will certainly drill the point home to Horace Hunter. And again, looking for the big right hook. as Rose gets in tight on Hunter again. Hunter comes right back at him.
Hunter, both guys very determined. Rose picking up the work rate, something he had to do. He had to do something, and it's yielding results. Whether it's enough to win the round, I'm not sure. But he landed the biggest punch of the round so far.
Well, does one big punch negate the 15 or 20 little ones that Horace Hunter has thrown?
You know, that's the objective aspect of judging. It all depends what you like. Do you like the big moment, or do you like the steady consistency? You know, it's tough for me to read minds. I like the work that Rose has done in this round, even though Hunter has had his moments.
Yeah.
So far, it's a Rose round, a close Rose round, but a Rose round nonetheless.
Tried to step inside, and Hunter comes over top, stopping with a right, then a left jab as well.
Left jab. I like the fact that the left from Hunter is landing. And of the two guys, it's Hunter that's taking the punches better than Rose.
And another shot from Hunter just as the round comes to a close. So that's going to be a very tough round to score.
It is, and especially having a round punctuated by a shot like that might be enough to change the minds of judges who were leading toward Rose early on. But seeing Hunter finish that strongly may tip the balance in his favor.
The fact is, the round starts when they come off the stool, and it ends when the bell goes.
Absolutely.
And it's whatever happens in that time frame.
Exactly.
Take a look at this one more time. As Horace Hunter stepped inside, and it was Phil Rose coming over top with one big right. There it is, staggering Hunter. Backpedals, but Hunter gathered himself up very nicely.
Gathered himself up. You know what? I think that was a case of Rose timing his counter perfectly, as opposed to Hunter being lazy. Hunter was in the middle of the throwing, and he got tagged. So really, hats off to Rose for really having a good moment and taking advantage of an opening, as opposed to Hunter kind of admiring his work and being his own worst enemy.
Having a moment. I don't know if Horace Hunter might have had a few more moments in that round to steal the round. I got a feeling we're going to disagree on that one.
I gave it to Hunter just because of the work he did over the course of the round, and the fact, you know what, he left a good impression at the end of the round for me to make up my mind. But tough round to score, and that's going to be key. It's a 4-round fight. If Rose does well, the question will be, does Rose does well in round 4? The question will be, how did the judges score round 3?
I'm going to take credit for turning you over to Horace Hunter on that one. And a big combination coming. Hunter's trying to backpedal and stay out of the way of Phil Rose. Rose looking for the knockout. And Hunter pins him in the corner.
Rose landed a good hook there, as well as a right hand. So we're seeing both hands come into play for Justin Rose, for Phil Rose.
Phil Rose knowing that he's in deep in this 4th and final round. Went down low and then tried to come back over top of the left. He caught the chin there of Horace Hunter. Hunter comes right back at him.
But we're seeing really good footwork out of Rose. He's not staying right in front of Hunter, giving Hunter that inviting target. Being a little more elusive, a little more cagey, and allowing himself to land counters that he wasn't able to in rounds 1 and 2.
Rose now has him, and actually looking a lot more comfortable against the southpaw now.
Yeah, he is. Neither guy landing effective shots. I like the work rate of Rose in this round. And he's doing well on the inside right there. A couple uppercuts. Definitely got Hunter's attention.
Jason, that's what you talked about right off the top. Rose has got to get inside. And in this 4th round, he's doing just that. And look at how successful he is.
He's being successful and just ate a good straight left from Hunter. So every time you think a guy is getting an edge in this fight, he's being countered to possibly give you pause for thought. Rose caught loading up there. Hunter a little quicker to getting his punch off. But fatigue beginning to set in for both guys in round 4. But we've seen 4 good fights so far.
There's a big right hand from Rose, and you got to give Hunter credit. He's taken 2 or 3 big shots from Phil Rose and has maintained his composure. Again, Rose steps inside, They go toe-to-toe. Rose has got him backpedal against the ropes. Uppercut. Now he comes over the top. Hunter on the clasp. Backs him into the ropes.
Great work by Phil Rose there, getting on the inside and being busy on the inside. There might not have been a perfect moment in there where the perfect punch landed.
Oh, and Rose stepped right into that one, but the mouthpiece of Horace Hunter has come out. Rose
may not have landed a great punch during that exchange, but the forward movement, the fact that he had Hunter against the ropes, a clear statement that he not only did he win that exchange, but perhaps he's winning this round as well.
Mouthpiece of Phil Rose, my mistake, had come out. Both fighters from the corners now. Time is winding down, and a big left from Hunter over the top. Rose comes right back at him, and that does it. A great end to this 4-round fight. Phil Rose and Horace Hunter.
Great fight. Great fight. And the key will be, how did the judges score round 3? Because clearly Phil Rose took round 4.
Well, if Phil Rose gets round 3, it's a draw in my opinion.
Draw, exactly. It's a draw. So either you have 3-1 Horace Hunter or 2-2. But, you know, maybe the judge saw one of the first 2 rounds differently.
Horace Hunter throughout the 4 rounds was the more active fighter as far as number of punches thrown and landed. But the big ones all went to Phil Rose. Whenever there was a big shot, whether it was a body shot or coming out through the big hit, it was Phil Rose.
And we're seeing the volume of work Rose did in the later round, especially round 4. It's a matter of quantity versus quality.
Yeah.
Horace Hunter busier and landing some, but the prime rim shots, you know, the shots that you can stick your fork in and sink your teeth into, those were Phil Rose's shots. So it's a tough call. Do you like the busier fighter, maybe the more accurate fighter, or do you like the big moment fighter?
Well, we really didn't see Phil Rose until the 4th round able to get inside Horace Hunter. There was the odd time when he was able to step in and get one off, but really it wasn't until the last round that he was able to get inside and be effective inside.
Exactly. I mean, that was his statement round. That you can tell that was his game plan, or should have been his game plan 1 through 3. He executed properly in 4, and it bore fruit as far as the results go.
This is not fair, but I'm going to pose it anyway. What happens if it gone 6 rounds?
Well,
I mean, Rose looked to have figured it out.
Exactly. Rose seems to have figured it out, but Rose also looked like the more tired fighter as well. So
because of the big punches he was throwing and not hitting.
He was loading up more. Yep. So really, tough to look at the crystal ball and see definitively what would have happened. Whereas other fights, you think a guy tired down the stretch, and you don't want to imagine what would have happened. Or it was easy to imagine what would have happened had the fight progressed past its scheduled allotment. But both guys had their moments, and you saw the quality in both guys. We've really been treated to 4 terrific fights so far.
Oh, absolutely. 4 outstanding fights so far, and this one is no different, as we're going to go up to Pierre Bernier in the ring and find out who the winner of this matchup was.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, before reading the scorecards, let's give these 2 warriors a tremendous round of applause for an incredible fight. Ladies and gentlemen, the scorecards read as follows. Judge Voodoo scores it 39-37. Hunter. Judge Davis and Judge Zolnichuk both score it 38-38. It's a majority draw. The fight is a draw, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, you talk about that 3rd round, Jason, and that was the turning point for 2 of the 3 judges.
It was all about that 3rd round. Clearly, the 38-38 card gave 3 and 4.
Let me ask you, how did you have it on your scorecard?
Yeah, I had it 39-37. I agreed with the one judge.
And I had it that way as well.
You can't really argue. I mean, one, it's a 4-round fight.
I agree.
2, it was so close, and judging is so subjective that you can't really quarrel with the outcome.
Phil Rose and Michelle Storino in the ring.
Thanks so much, guys. Phil, you've never gone the distance. The first time you go the distance, a majority draw. Just talk a little bit about that 3rd round and how it seemed to open up things for you.
Well, you know what? I knew I had to get busy in there. throughout the fight, I wasn't throwing as much as I should have been. So you know what, 4th round, I said, let's pick it up, put it all out there. You know, 3 minutes, put everything that I have into it.
Talk about the first 2 rounds. Horace seemed to dictate the pace a little bit, which made you come out a little bit harder in the 3rd and 4th rounds to push the pace.
Well, the first couple rounds, I had a hard time getting a grasp and getting my routine in there. And then as the fight went on, I started to get a flow. And in the 4th round, it all started to come together.
What was your confidence like coming into this fight, knowing that you had beaten 2 guys that Horace lost to before?
First things first, I never underestimate any opponent, right? Never. I went in there thinking that, you know, I got to fight my best and do what I've been trained to do to get the win.
What's next for Phil Rose?
I'm just going to keep going on and on until I get to the top, man. I won't stop.
Congratulations on a fantastic fight. As you can tell, everyone in the Hershey Center enjoyed it. Horace, this is the lowest weight class you fought out. Just tell us a little bit about your weight cut and how you felt coming into tonight's fight.
I felt actually weak before the fight. I was in a sauna for quite a bit of time yesterday trying to make the weight. And I knew I felt drained. I didn't sleep at all in the night because I had sweats on, and I had to try to make weight, right? But part of the reason why I don't like doing those things is because I know it's going to weaken me, right? I don't have a lot of fat to lose, so, you know, but I came out, I did my best. In the 4th round, for sure, I started to feel the drain, right? I've been training for a while for this fight, so there's no excuses in that aspect, but I guess you live and you learn.
The first 2 rounds, you seemed to dictate the pace a bit more. Your corner was yelling at you to just, I guess, keep the combos going by doubling up off that jab. Just talk a little bit about the game plan heading into tonight's matchup.
Well, both of Phil Rose's guys that I had fought, I've never seen Phil Rose fight. So I didn't know what to expect myself. So I had to go in sort of cautious. I knew that he stopped both the guys, so he certainly does have some power. But I was able to control that when I had the energy. But, you know, as my energy started to wither away, I started to play more cautious, and, you know, he picked it up. So, you know, he's used to fighting at this weight class. This is not my weight class.
Well, you started your career off with 3 losses. You have a win and now a majority draw. You're doing quite well for yourself, regardless of the weight class. Congratulations on a fantastic fight, Horace.
Thank you. Thank you.
Guys?